All right.
All right, it is 7:02 PM. We will call to order Board of Selectmen meeting for September 3rd, 2024. And we will be, all three selectmen are present, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from August 20th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on these minutes?
I don't have anything.
No, I think they look good as always.
Okay, and the only edit I had, Dottie, was under citizen comments, the first batch, agenda item 6. Jeff Berlin is actually Jeff Berline, and that is spelled Beaurline. And that's the only adjustment that I had for the minutes. If there's no more adjustments, all in favor of approving the minutes as presented with the adjustment, that one adjustment for Jeff Berline's name, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, correspondence. I have two pieces of information to share with the board tonight that is not listed on the agenda. The first is the Congregational Church of Thompson received 100% credit for the approved Neighborhood Assistance Act. So they have a credit of $150,000.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes, and the second piece of information, the Friends of the Library book sale is coming up on September 21st between the hours of 10 AM and 1 PM. And then our poet laureate, Steve Vayu, will be hosting on October 21st at the library, the Haunted Tales, a poetry open mic event. So grab your pen and paper or your laptop and create a poetry that's revolves around a haunted tale and show up on October 21st. And you can share your poetry, your haunted poetry. So sounds like a fun event. I might actually try to participate.
I might go.
That's good.
but not
We have
participate.
something in town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Any other correspondence to bring before the board tonight?
I didn't have anything.
Whoops. All right. Moving on to selectmen comments. Selectmen comments.
I have a comment. I was approached again this past week about the dumpsters on 193 at the old Italian restaurant.
Cindy is actively working on that. The owner is currently attempting to evict the person that's renting from the space. And yeah, we're just,
Okay, so it's a rental
yes.
and they're, okay. Yeah, I understand that there's been neighbors that have been
There's been
watching.
more stuff coming.
There's been more stuff coming, but there's neighbors that are watching and they pick up at like 3 in the morning.
Oh, lovely.
And there's people dropping off in the middle of the night. It is quite a racket going on, so it's,
We're doing our best. It's one of those situations where it would be nice to have a resident trooper. But once again.
that would help to do surveillance.
Yes. So, but we are actively attempting to stop that activity. So it's been ongoing, and Cindy's been very active with it. And there's a process with the courts as far as the eviction process is concerned. So we're kind of waiting for.
It's a lengthy process.
Yes,
But that's a separate issue, right? Because what they're doing is running an illegal operation.
right.
So there's a lot of different avenues to go with that.
Oh, I mean, Cindy can issue a cease and desist, et cetera, but it's going through the court and getting it into, it's such a lengthy process.
There's an environmental issue
Yeah.
as well, and yeah, that's why I
Right.
said there's a lot of different moving parts.
Mhm.
You know, at one time, sometimes you can get assistance from DEP.
Right, okay.
Well, they'll come down.
That's what. That would
Okay.
make sense, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I used to,
Versus just NDDH, if we're talking
But
about,
that's
because
the-
we're talking about trash, we're talking about things that
Well,
could
I
attract.
understand too, there's chemicals, possibly paints, cans of paints, things like that.
Mhm.
I
Okay.
don't know what that falls under. I don't, it's
D-
environmental.
It is environmental. DEP has different branches within itself,
That would,
you know, air quality, et cetera. And
Right.
you explain to them, you know, in years past, they would send somebody out. But as we know, like anything else, staff has been downsized dramatically,
Right.
unfortunately.
But it's an avenue we haven't tried.
You
So
can
I-
try that
I
as
will
well.
speak to Cindy about that.
that's a good idea.
Any other selectmen comments?
I drove by the bridge today. There must have been 5 or 6 cement trucks lined up to pour, which was a step in the right direction.
They have great weather for the next few days.
Yes,
Yeah.
Which is
so,
fantastic.
but it looked good that they were actually starting to pour the deck
Mhm.
and stuff, so. You know, fingers crossed, you're looking at 3 weeks and.
Yep.
I like to be optimistic, but I'm not gonna hold my breath.
Well, it's always best to be cautiously optimistic.
But it was nice seeing them pave.
Mhm.
I mean, pouring the cement with the
Yeah.
trucks lined up, so that's always very positive.
So on that note, I did a drive-through with Joe Tasek. We drove through the entire town, pretty much talked about some various issues that we're still going to be addressing in the coming year or two. But the biggest thing I wanted to give a shout out is to our crew, our public works crew, who is operating at a deficit. They're currently short-staffed, but they have done a phenomenal job on putting down the aprons on various driveways throughout the 3 paved sections of town. And I thought they looked phenomenal. We did some bridge inspections together. We looked at some areas that need some work. But overall, we're really, Joe and I are pleased with the direction the town is going as far as keeping up with the infrastructure and the paving projects, and optimistic for the future and for next year. And we're starting our list of projects for next year, which should include Bonnet Acres or Bonnet Ave, which has been in disrepair for quite a while as far as the road surface. This year, they did attack all of the culverts, the catch basins, in preparation for the paving next year. So excited about that. I wanted to point out that the welding program at the school is having a ribbon cutting this coming Friday morning. That will include Congressman Joe Courtney and members or representatives from EB who has partnered in the program. So I'm excited about that. Eversource. Suzanne, you had brought up the Eversource. I happened to go back to the meeting that I went to, the webinar that I went to, where Eversource talked about the rate increases. And I have a meeting with our representative for Eversource and his managers this coming quarter, because in that webinar, they said the average homeowner would see an $8 increase. And we know that that's far from what people are experiencing. A little bit of false advertising. I just remember walking away from that webinar feeling like, okay, well, this isn't so bad. This isn't so bad, but what we've seen and what people have experienced is unacceptable. So if you'd like, I'm happy to share the date with both of you if you wanted to join in on the quarterly meeting. So if you had any questions, you could ask Exxon, our representative, directly.
Can I just, what I understand is that is in addition to the public benefits.
That was the public benefits, that was how it all was supposed to average out.
Really?
Yeah.
Because there's an additional, after the public benefits, there's an additional increase that was approved the beginning of August, I
For
believe.
September 1st, I think.
That will go into effect September 1st,
Right,
correct?
and
So that
we were
public-
not versed on that in the meeting in June,
Ah.
not July, June. We weren't, that was not touched upon. It was an $8 increase is what the average person was going to see. And that's proving to be false information.
Yeah.
So I believe they need to be, they held accountable and they need to answer for what they provided to the town leaders for
Yeah.
information.
And Pure declined reopening the rates, et cetera. It's been on the news.
Right.
And Hartford is still trying to get a special session.
Yeah,
So
and they're being denied by the governor? Am I correct on that?
I know Pura said that they're blaming the extreme warm weather for the increase that it hit. I'm just saying what they're saying. I don't agree with it. But, and they said by the time they go through the process, the pain will be over because it'll be the first of the year. They have a whole bunch of excuses.
Right, right.
And it's not good.
No, it's not good.
No.
And on my last note, which is more positive, I do want to give a shout out to another staff person. So in addition to the Public Works, who have been really working hard with minimal staff, we have an exceptional employee here at Town Hall. It is Paula LeBlanc. She is the senior accountant. She works directly with Bill Steglitz. She had been on vacation, and this is the week the auditors come in. The auditors will be here on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. And knowing that they were going to need her attention, she came in yesterday on Labor Day without being asked, just to get caught up and get ready for payroll for this week and get caught up on things that were missing while she was away. And she spent 4 hours here yesterday, unasked. She just did it because she's a dedicated employee. And I think it's important to recognize her publicly. We have a lot of employees like her here at the town, and it's important to recognize the work that they do. So I just wanted to give her a quick shout out. I won't drag on too much because she wouldn't like that. Bill's shaking his head. She would not like that. So, and that's all I have. Are there any other selectmen comments? All right, we will open the floor at this time to citizen comments, and we will begin in the virtual audience. Any citizen comments? Ms. Valerie Clark.
Valerie Clark, Elm Road. Couple of things in your minutes. There are references in there to something called Center Bridge, and that's not a name. Fenner Bridge is the correct name.
Okay,
That needs to be corrected. But it's also not clear that I was referring to a different bridge on Baker Road when I talked about it being, if it was the culvert, that's a different bridge. Fenner Bridge, Fenner, is the name of the bridge that is the one that is designated as in dangerous condition that the state says we need to fix.
all right, duly noted.
Oh, I
And
see that.
then the second item is I just want to echo what Ken was trying to say about landlord-tenant law. And it can take 9 months to a year at the landlord's expense, and it does not matter what the tenant's doing, to get a bad tenant out. And this is really an anti-landlord climate. So the best thing that can happen is the more documentation the town can give that will assist the landlord in court, but it will not speed the process up. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Santos.
Good evening. Just wanted to announce that I was here in case you had any questions for me for 65 Main or the track and equipment and bleachers. I just quickly wanted to give a shout out to Mountain View Landscapes for doing an absolute phenomenal job with the school track. They did finish last Friday and it looks fantastic. So just wanted to announce that. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other citizen comments from the virtual audience? Just unmute, state your name and address. The live audience here at the Senate Community Room, any citizen comments at this time? Yes, Miss Jessica Volpe.
Jessica Pulte, 1081 Riverside Drive. I just want to echo Brian's comments about Mountain View Landscape. They assisted with the site work as well. They actually donated that for the playground project. And then lo and behold, we had a bit of a hiccup with some undiscovered ledge, when they were inputting playground equipment, and they hurried up and they took care of that for us as well. So they've been a phenomenal, partner with the projects that we've been having occur.
Fantastic. Good to hear. Lots of positive news.
Like that.
Any other citizen comments here in the live audience? All right. We will move on to agenda item 7, RFP, Main Street exterior painting reissue. So they reissued the painting for the 65 Main Street because they just couldn't negotiate. We only had received the one bid and they couldn't negotiate. Brian could answer more questions about that, but they couldn't negotiate them down. They couldn't work with them to get them into a price that was affordable for what we had remaining. We have 5 bids.
That's good.
So, two, and I'll do one.
Really? Whoever gets it open, who can-
So as we open them, just state the name and the bid amount. So I am opening up one from Vase Management LLC out of New Haven, Connecticut. And I have a proposal.
Anybody got a knife?
Not on that painting.
I have a proposal of $46,777.
Alright. Flawless cleaning, painting and more out of Putnam, Connecticut.
Okay.
And their total says 24,585.40.
I have a bid from Scholar Painting LLC.
Make sure you're loud enough so everybody can.
Scholar Painting LLC, and they are from
Is it on the outside of the envelope?
Seymour, Connecticut, and they're coming in at total material pricing. Am I supposed to add the two together?
You name them both off.
Yeah, okay, so total for the labor, 24,900, a total for the material and pricing, 13,420. Okay. And. Okay, I'll toss it back.
And the one I got here is RR Commercial Painting Inc. out of Brooklyn, Connecticut. And $42,495.
I have. Four holdings. Help me,
What did
they didn't have anything on the, yeah, core holdings. And. So. Core Holdings LLC, but I'm not. Seeing
there's an email
the
address.
location. And I'm looking for the quote.
Second page 3, sorry, three of 3.
So labor is 16,700 and materials 10,000. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, that's what I'm seeing.
And I don't know where they're located.
Right. So we will hand these off to Tara, and I think Brian Santos will have part in reviewing them and leveling them. Obviously, it's not always the lowest bidder. It's the most qualified that meets all the credentials and the work that's been proposed. So we will pass them along to them. Thank you. All right, we have an application to be appointed as Inlands Wetlands Commission alternate, Greg Corso. He is an arborist, if I understand, yes, he's a certified arborist. With a bachelor's and graduate certificate in natural resources. I can say without a doubt, Margaret, our wetlands officer, was very excited to have this applicant.
Okay.
Um,
I am ready to make a motion.
okay,
Oh, okay. I'll make the motion that we approve the appointment of Greg Corso for Inland Wetlands Commission term to end March 15th, 2029.
Second,
any discussion on this applicant?
Oh, looks like a good applicant.
qualifications look good.
Yeah,
All right, all in favor of approving the appointment of Greg Corso as Inland Wetlands Commission alternate, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. All right, agenda item 9. 2 weeks ago, I received a resignation. It was prior to our Board of Selectmen meeting. I had received Terry Bellman's resignation. I had decided to hold it because I was trying to convince him to stay on. And he has opted not to stay on as building official. So that's before us tonight.
so we need a motion to accept Terry Bellman's resignation as of August 20th, 2024 with regrets.
So you're making that motion?
I'm making that motion, yeah.
Okay, I will second that motion. And discussion.
The resignation letter is quite interesting
Mhm.
and we'll let it go at that. Okay.
I mean, I'll be honest. People want transparency. For 5 years, I've heard how there's too much work for that department. And I posed to Mr. Bellman that with a new hire coming on, that I would need him to be full-time. At least be in the office more than just 2 hours a day. He chose not to. During a Board of Finance meeting this year, because I had already discussed with him the potential of moving him to a more of a full-time schedule. He stated that he was willing to do whatever it took to get the job done. In a moment where we were going to be he was without a support staff. There was a new person starting next week, potentially, if the board approves tonight. We were going to need him to be there more often, and he decided that it wasn't for him. And I will leave it at that. So. He wasn't willing to do whatever it took. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion about the resignation about Terry Bellman? And it is with regret because I sat on this for almost a week before it got brought to the town clerk.
I haven't talked to him, so I don't know what the circumstances are as far as the rest of the discussion.
Mhm.
I know he's been very dedicated when the last several years when we lost I think it was Lee Post that left.
Mhm.
That Terry had come on, he was splitting time with Woodstock and doing Thompson. And he's always done an outstanding job,
Right.
you know, with the building for whatever the reasons. And you know, he has his being retired, he has his limitations, how many hours that he can actually work because of the MERS program, you know, for retirement. He would make it work as best as he could. And he has,
Right,
as far as I know. So like I said, we'll let it go. Terry has done an outstanding job.
There's
Yeah.
so much
There's-
building going on in this town right now, everywhere, that it's
That's
gotta be
true.
a challenge
it's
for
been
a
5
part-time
years of it being
position.
a challenge.
Yeah,
So, and there were some mishaps, there were some things. Yes, he's done a great job for being allotted less than 20 hours a week. It's not a part-time position, it's just not. Not with all the building that's going on here in town, and it hasn't been, and they've struggled. We've added an assistant building official, well, that didn't work out. We added a part-time person to assess, well, that wasn't working out either. There comes a time where you say that the issue isn't necessarily the amount of work. And I'll leave it at that again. So,
But,
but he's done a great job, and that is why I held off on bringing that. I could have brought it to you on that Tuesday. And I opted to wait because I really wanted him to stay on.
yeah,
So
maybe,
at this point, we're going out, we're searching.
we should.
There's an ad,
The-
there's an ad that's been placed, it's already in the shopper's guide this week. We have it on the town website, and, as a board, we're going to interview and we'll see, who applies. So, and we'll move forward.
Hopefully, in the future, if something of this nature happens again before it gets to this extreme, that maybe us as a board in executive session can have some
The
discussion
building-
on it.
Yeah, the building official
You
is
know,
appointed
we're-
by the first selectman.
No, that I know.
Right.
But I'm talking when we're trying to get things done and we're looking at performances and so forth,
Mhm.
that,
Well, we
I
didn't we have
totally
a
agree, because
conversation
we've
during the
never had,
budget?
we've never had performance
well,
evaluations.
no, but when
in
a
the town.
situation is coming up, that's what, the board can meet, maybe we can
But
put
now
our
that we
heads
have an
together.
HR Person, maybe that's something that could be
Absolutely.
Yeah.
implemented,
Yep.
is performance reviews for those
No,
who are
but
appointed or hired.
but when you're having a situation and you're trying to get the job done and we're looking at avenues and we're looking at all of the challenges,
The
executive,
challenge was that it was a 20-hour,
Well,
less than
but
20.
But we did talk about this during budget season.
And we
I
have
worked at a
in the
budget
past. Yes, we
workshop.
have.
No, this past
Oh, yeah,
budget workshop, we
without
talked
doubt.
about
Mhm.
what it took, the hours, if, more, what was gonna make that office functional. And it was,
Right, but I mean, when we're looking at it, maybe we could have just had a special meeting on it, brainstormed and see if we could have, you see things different, I see, you see, and
did
maybe
you
come
have
up with
a
something.
lot of notice though?
Oh, well, of course not. I mean, it was only in the last couple of weeks where I said, hey, let's think about increasing hours. So. I don't
Anyway.
know what we could have discussed that would have made it any different.
Who knows,
More
but
hours
but
or
it's
no
after the
hours?
fact now, but I mean, something.
I think I did the best job that I could do,
And I have no doubt that you did. I have no doubt that you
including
did.
spending every single day in that department for the last 2 months. So. But it's not what I wanted. So,
All right, so we haven't.
so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of accepting the resignation with extreme regret, say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
And I'm gonna say no,
okay,
because I don't want to see him leave,
okay,
but we can't control that.
thank you. All right, agenda item 10, TMS, PTO graduation celebration request for Fill the Pot. Fundraiser at the transfer station. So this is for the middle school.
Yes, we would like permission to, stand out with buckets and, do the normal.
2 days, October 12th and October 26th, 9 AM to noon.
Yep.
So I'll make that motion.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the request to fill the paw at the
There's
transfer
no
station?
conflicts, right?
Nope, Marie would have checked that.
All right.
All right, all in favor of approving the PTO request for fill the paw for the middle school, say aye.
aye,
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, agenda item 11, building committee request for track equipment and bleachers. So I had invited. Actually, do we need, I'm gonna make a motion just so that we can open up for discussion. I'll make a motion that we pass along to the Board of Finance for consideration a request from the building committee for $250,000 to cover the cost of track equipment and possibly bleachers. That includes the bleachers in that amount. I'll make that motion. for discussion
Second.
purposes? Okay, we have a motion and a second, open for discussion. So I had asked Bill Steglitz to be here, in case we had any finance questions, and he was considerate and thoughtful enough to look up when we had our town meeting. And the resolution that was approved at town meeting stated to appropriate $1,500,000 for costs related to the removal and replacement of the outdoor athletic track at Thompson Public Schools building. The appropriation may be spent for the demolition of the existing track, removal and disposal of materials, design and planning costs, acquisition and installation of the new track surface, repairs and improvements to surrounding grounds, consulting fees, engineering, planning, legal fees, net interest on borrowings, other financing costs, and and other expenses related to the project. But that's it.
Is this,
It's very open-ended.
Yeah.
it is, but if there was one part that you just read that said something, can I just see it again?
Yeah. You want to pass it up, down to Ken too.
Yeah.
So if you recall, the town approved 1.5 million. We were able to secure a steep grant for 500,000. You can't have a
Surrounding-
track
surrounding
without
grounds.
equipment.
Surrounding grounds, it also includes.
Oh,
That
did it
that
say
was,
that too?
it says surrounding grounds.
Okay. But does it,
You wanna-
it's a
So is
I
it
just-
within the 1.5 million, the community approved $1.5 million for the training?
we had 500,000 from steep. So that leaves us, right now, we're at $1 million is what it's gonna cost the taxpayers, and I'm in favor of giving as much back to the taxpayers as possible. But we cannot host a track meet without track equipment, and that was an oversight on our part. And I don't know what you both think of. Can we
Well,
live
it's-
without bleachers? Possibly. Can we live out without track equipment? Absolutely not. So
So track equipment consists of, is that listed here?
it's,
The equipment's 150K, whatever.
which I wish I had the itemized statement.
I mean,
That's
Brian is in the
So
audience.
there's a
It's
credit coming from
Max.
30,000-ish from where?
What is that?
30,000.
Brian, can I?
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, there was an option within the contract that got us that $30,000 credit by going with a different surface.
Yes.
I
Okay,
forget
so that's a
exactly what it
plus.
Was, and if I remember correctly, Deb Spinelli went out to get the prices on the track equipment, and it's everything you would think of. It's hurdles, shot puts, mats, high jump mats, all the
Pole
stuff.
vaults,
Yeah,
the
you watch a track.
the high jump bars.
There's all manner of stuff. If
Yeah.
I remember right, it came up to about $130,000 or so for the equipment. The bleachers, I believe, and this is off the top of my head, were somewhere between 85 and 100,000, if I remember.
And Brian confirmed that today in an email that it was 100.
100.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I
I mean,
can,
Brian would have
Yeah.
better details.
Brian wants to jump in. Is that okay with the board?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
course.
Go ahead, Brian.
everything Bill Stagel says is correct. It is, yeah, the equipment that Deb priced was 130,000. I added 20,000 because we neglected to also include rubber rollout mats so you could walk across the track when the soccer kids are having their cleats, or protects the track. So we included an additional 20,000 for that. That's why it totals 150. And then I'd always originally budgeted 100,000 for the bleacher equipment, but just to confirm that number, I went and had Ty and Bond solicit a price. The price came in at 130,000. But I told them that we're never going to be able to get that. The budget's 100,000, so we would reduce the capacity to just over 300 people. But the $100,000 budget would work, and we would be able to get bleachers for that.
Well,
Well, the quote you sent out, Brian, says the bleachers are 122.5.
That is correct. That was the quote that we got, but I asked them to modify the bleachers. So that would mean that it would just reduce in size a little bit, Ken. They did not requote it. They just said that they would be able to come up with something for $100,000, which obviously is the case.
I tend to think that we're crazy to build and reconstruct and spend this kind of money on a track and not have the equipment and the bleachers. I think that to me is a no-brainer.
The question, we know that the 1.5 we had passed to do, which was gonna be bonded, right?
And it has been.
Okay.
Yep.
What in, when the $500,000 grant, what was allowed to be spent? Use that for.
For construct, my understanding, and Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, the grant is more specific than what we went out to bond on. The grant is limited to construction costs essentially. And that's how Tira has been structuring the reimbursement as we go along.
Yeah, okay, so that means playground equipment could not come out of that.
Right, yeah.
It's gotta come out of the 1.5.
Exactly.
And of course, he's got numbers here of we'll have $290,920 left.
Right.
Ballpark number.
That's I think Brian calls it the value back to the.
Back to the, which would right. So okay.
So what we are doing is presenting this to the Board of Finance. We are just approving or agreeing with, and then sending this to the Board of Finance
For them to make a decision.
for them to make this final decision.
I mean, I'm okay with
Well-
not having the bleachers. I will be completely honest. I think the most important thing is the track equipment. I do love the idea of there being relays here again. I participated in relays when I was in school. I went to the kids, they used to have them at Ledyard. There was one more. Griswold. I never sat in the bleachers. I always
But-
just stood around, so
Can I just say?
I can advocate for no bleachers.
We have
but-
come this far. We are this close to having it. I'm advocating for bleachers and
Okay.
equipment.
Okay,
Because I think this town and these kids deserve this. And we are this far away from having a completed track with bleachers where we can actually have meets. And parents want to sit in the bleachers.
I
yeah.
like where you're coming from.
Our kids deserve this and it's.
I'm for once being a little bit more conservative than you.
I know, and usually it's me saying.
I think Bill has rubbed off on me. a little bit.
And I know, and I'm usually the one like, how can
I'm
we
usually
say this, how can we, no, but this to me is like, this is a big deal for this town. This is like one of the biggest things that we've done for our kids and God knows how long. Why are we gonna stop short?
Well, we can always send it to the Board of Finance.
And I think we
then
should send it
can-
as is.
Whoever wants to advocate can be here to advocate with the Board of Finance and then leave it in their hands.
Bill.
And that way they have the option to vote yes or no on both or either, or none. Both, one or none. What do you think, Ken?
I'm looking at the fund balance because we are of slipping on the banana peel completely. We're that close to that one repair, whatever that puts us well under the 5% and puts us in state's eyes. And so I'm keeping that in the back of my mind, as we should. Okay, and that can be a problem because then it has a real impact on our taxpayers. Because at that point, state walks in and says, guess what, your mill rate's going up by 3, 4, 5 mills, you ain't got a choice. And nobody has a say.
Right.
And it's unfortunate we got to this whole, to where we are, and we all share some as far as the taxpayers, everybody that's in elected office has had some input into this, and when we keep it down, it just we got to a hole that is scary right now. The question that I have for you, Bill, we know the 500,000 is going towards the grant. So technically, we only had to borrow $1 million
Well,
with the grant money, the bond,
if we were to fully offset the bond.
with the
we'd be
290.
down to $1 million. Right, when we bonded, we hadn't won the grant yet, so.
I know. My question to you is, how much of a difference is it going to make whether we put 290,000 towards paying off that note versus putting 100,000? Well, actually, 140,000. because you got the 40,000 that's,
No, on that.
how does that affect that?
On that, I'm kind of going doing some math off the top of my head, but it's probably a couple tenths of a percent on that ratio, the 5% that you referenced earlier, Ken. And obviously, the more money we use to offset the borrowing, the more it helps us. So from a purely a fund balance perspective, all of it rolling back and offsetting the bonding would be the most effective.
Yeah, but our bonds for what, 10, 20, 15,
20.
20 years? So, well, that was the question. If we roll that money.
Which would be up to the Board of Finance.
What,
Because
correct.
when that comes back in, they
It's not
can
up to us.
determine what they do with it. They
Right.
could just let it go to fund balance,
Right.
or they could pay down the note.
Question,
Mhm.
has anybody looked into grant funding for these projects?
For the equipment,
Yeah, for the equipment or the bleachers, is there a possibility that there is?
well, after already getting the steep grant on the project, not aware of any specific grants.
All
Usually
vendors
it's
or-
something like had the steep grant been written, but 500 was the maximum that we could get on it. So,
Can we throw it by Tara maybe? Would she know what's coming down the pike or?
well, she would, but then there's that. Yeah, I mean, we could, if you want to hold off and.
No, I would like to pass it on, but I would also like to at the same time be looking for
look
grant
for-
funding. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
And
Well,
that
we
was
should
fun.
automatically be
Right.
looking for the grant funding, and I'm sure Tira and the school
Maybe.
looks for it all the time.
Right.
Let's not
Right.
forget that they won $500,000 in grant.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I know,
Right.
but if there's another grant,
Yeah.
maybe there's, I don't know, who does equipment? CCM? I don't know, that's hockey, but there may be some funding out there through,
Even if
somewhere.
it's a small amount,
even if it's a small amount, it helps.
every little bit. helps.
Exactly.
Let me make a note of that.
That's where I get squeaky.
I may be wrong. I think in theory, we could make the decision whether to buy the bleachers or not, because it's been approved in the budget.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, you mean as a board of selectmen?
yes, because it's in our budget,
What's in our budget?
the money to be spent, it was
Yeah.
appropriated. Okay,
Brian, jump in if my numbers are off. The cost of construction of the track.
Which is $1.5 million.
Right under $1.5 million.
yes, but that was, the taxpayers approved the spending of that money.
Yep.
Okay, and we do have Steve Herbert on, that's one of our finance guys. And once a budget's been approved, we can spend up to it, not over it. Okay,
No.
and I'm
You
just,
might be right. When I
Yes.
first looked at it, I thought, why is this coming to us? Because it's already an approved project.
correct, and we got the grant money to do it.
But we're splitting hairs. I'm splitting hairs because we approved a track. And maybe
But when
if
you
you
read the
interpret,
language, when you read the language.
yeah,
Yeah.
And the grounds and
other expenses related to the
Okay.
project.
I don't know that we even have to.
Technically, I don't believe we have to. It's always good policy to talk to the Board of Finance and discuss what we're doing and get input and recommendations. Because ultimately, while we can't spend all of it without a problem, and you've got the grant to offset it. Like I'm saying, we're still looking at fund balance. We're looking at paying down that $1.5 million bonding. You know, I think the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen probably should have. How much of an impact would the 140,000 make on that note? Okay, how much would 290,000 make on that note? So we could actually make an educated decision with the help of the Board of Finance on that. You know, maybe that 290, instead of paying off the note, they decide to put it into the fund balance to get that fund balance back up for that rainy day. So there's a lot of moving pieces here.
Technically, the town approved 1.5 million and then we received a $500,000 grant.
Correct.
Yes,
So technically, the town has already approved the 1.5 million
that's what I said.
and 500,000. Plus, we received 500,000.
We-
So
they
it's
have-
like getting 2 million.
Right, they approve
Am I
us
correct?
to, they approve us to
And
go
we're at
after,
1 million?
1.5,
At the
Plus.
annual,
So we're still under 2 mil,
yes,
2 million
we have 2 million. Yes,
in the whole.
it's just
scheme of
a
But-
things.
matter of how you want to look at it.
yes,
It's perception. Do you perceive that the town voted to approve just a track? Which can't be utilized without track equipment, or would track equipment fall under it? Brian Santos wants to
and,
say
and
something.
technically, all we can spend is up to $1.5 million.
Right, so,
It's not over.
Right.
So
$1.5
that,
million, but then we have a grant for 500,000.
yes, but it's gotta be a construction part of the grant. So,
it's almost all of that has already been submitted, I think.
correct.
We've
So
submitted
if you
for
can
over
only
some-
spend $1.5 million to do the track, that 500,000 should be bringing that $1.5 million down to $1 million.
Right.
Okay, and anything
how you
over
look
that $1.5 million total expenses, based on our ordinance, et cetera, may have to go back out to the people.
I disagree. We have a grant for
Oh.
500,000
What do you mean
and
it might
one,
have to go back out to the people?
I disagree with you.
No, I think Ken, if I might. I think what Ken is saying is if we were to offset that use the 500,000 to offset it and then go bananas and spend over the $1.5 million again in
Oh.
total, then it would have to go back
Right.
out to the people.
Right.
All we get is $1.5 million on this
Right.
playground,
I think
period.
you're thinking
Right.
that, I think Ken's thinking gross, but that's just.
But I'm thinking, we were guaranteed $1.5 million to do the track. Anything over that, we gotta go back to the Board of Finance and go through the ordinance as required to get the additional money.
Right,
So all we got is $1.5 million to spend. We got the 500,000 construction grant, which brings down the borrowing to $1 million instead of $1.5 million, but it still doesn't change the gross expenditure of $1.5 million. It does. It's the way it works. All we can spend is $1.5 million. As much as
Right.
we're inclined to do that stuff, we can't. And this is the dilemma
But
that we
with the
have.
500,000, we're not spending that. We're spending it, we're using that, but we're not taking it out of the $1.5 million.
What you're missing is that grant can only be used on the
Construction
construction.
of it.
The construction that we allowed the taxpayers to do was $1.5 million.
Well,
Not
and-
2
Anyway,
million.
regardless,
If there's
we're
any
not
question
over
why
$1.5
this was
million.
on the agenda,
Right.
it's very
This-
important to be transparent and have this type of conversation because it's a hard question. And it can be viewed in different ways.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. What you're saying is that no matter what, we were told we could spend $1.5 million.
$1.5 million.
Grants aside.
Yeah.
So, but again.
Now, if the
I
grant was
still
written, for additional equipment, et cetera, we'd be home free because at the annual meeting, the taxpayers give us the authorization to apply for grants.
think-
I think it's perception.
It is interpretation.
It is how the money is, but if you look
Interpretation.
at it accordingly, all we're authorized is $1.5 million, period.
So Brian wanted to say something.
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
whatever.
Brian?
I just want to say I agree with Ken. I'll frame it a little differently. Usually you go back to the Board of Finance when you want to raise the budget or spend more than the $1.5 million.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah, you're 100% correct.
We are not asking for more money over 1.5 million, is my point. We are actually going to get back $290,920 at the end of the day. We're not asking for more money for over 1.5 million,
So
Yeah, but you are.
not including the grant. No, we are not.
The actual project cost was $1,459,000,
Yep,
okay?
the grant's
You're
worth.
$40,000 shy of the $1.5 million.
I personally think the most important thing at this point is let's have a second set of eyes.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And we can all, and which is why we want to send it to the Board of Finance for discussion. So Ken can express his point of view. The public can express their point of view. Yeah.
The
and
way-
then-
the
As long
way-
as, I'm not,
We're not saying we agree or not, it's just we're stuck in this quandary of
And I
having to
think-
track
The
I think-
town has not spent more than $1.5 million. That's where
it
how
will
I
spend
see
more
it.
than a million.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so should we just vote to send this to the Board of Finance
For
and
discussion.
for,
Yeah.
for them
that's
to
fine.
discuss?
Okay,
I mean, or it, maybe not, I mean, should we just?
we kind of have 3 points of view, it sounds like
We
Ken
do.
doesn't wanna,
And we all have
doesn't
different
agree.
points of view.
Because we said we'd spend 1.5 and this would push us over 1.5. I say, hey, they need track equipment, we'll send track equipment, and you're saying, give them the whole shebang.
But I'm not against spending over it,
right.
just that we're only authorized
Exactly.
to spend the 1.5. We have to go through the process of the additional
But the town
funding to
has-
get it spent.
Has not spent
And-
over 1.5, that's my point. Grant aside, we've not gone over 1.5.
No, but what you're missing, you're,
It's still the
you're
cost of the
right.
project.
But is that how
I
it
get where
reads?
Ken's
Is the
coming
cost of the
from.
project shall not exceed 1.5 million?
The
The construction,
appropriation may be spent for demolition, well, it says the cost of removal and replacement of the outdoor athletic track, technically. So. And whether or not other expenses related to the project fall under it,
I don't know.
that's interpretation.
But you still can't go over 1.5. In order to go over that, because you got the grant money, which offsets the construction cost, which allows the 1 million to increase, which keeps us under what we borrowed. If the Board of Finance says yes, we send it off to, according to the ordinance for spending, then we could spend it if it gets to the public,
That
then it's
makes
not a
sense.
problem.
We know that we're gonna have a town meeting coming up, so maybe it just gets added.
I don't know that it needs to go that far to a town meeting, because I view it as coming under the umbrella of the 1.5 that the town has already approved.
And I.
But that's my opinion.
I would too,
And,
because we
um,
worked hard to get that steep grant after the 1.5 was.
Exactly, it's
Try to
almost like being
offset the
penalized,
cost.
yeah, it's like that.
Yeah. But regardless,
And as I said, we've come this far to having a complete track.
yeah, I know.
Now, if
So-
you take the bleachers and the equipment out, we are under the 1.5 without a problem. As Soon as you add that in, we're over the 1.5, and that's where the problem comes in.
No,
It does.
all right, so should we vote?
Well, okay, so the motion on the table is just to send this for consideration to the Board of Finance.
Yes,
I think we all agree that it's a need.
yes.
So all in favor of requesting 250,000 from the Board of Finance to fund the track equipment.
I don't know if we're requesting, we're just asking for the approval of the Board of Finance
Okay.
to include the track equipment and the bleachers as part of the project.
Okay,
And in a perfect world, the Board of Finance could turn around and say that 290,000 we have left goes into the fund balance, and it brings us higher above that 5%. And we keep paying off depending on how the numbers fall, and Bill can advise the Board of Finance
all right.
how much of an impact almost 300,000 would have on the 20-year bond. And it may not be worth paying it off early, who knows? And we may be better off putting it into fund balance accordingly.
All
So
right,
there's a lot of moving parts.
all right, so motion's on the floor. All in favor,
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moves forward.
Bill, you got some homework to put
Good,
together.
I'm gonna say good discussion.
Yes, it
Good
was.
It was. All right, so agenda item 12 is the new ordinance. I'm just bringing it before the board. Wasn't sure if there's been any thought put into this. Again,
I-
something we totally have to decide on.
I looked at that. I looked at several towns where our ordinance is mirroring them
Which ordinance?
for the,
Proposed or we didn't have an ordinance before?
no, the one that we're proposing.
Oh, proposed mirrors.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, the dollar number is flexible, but a lot of them are 25,000.
Right.
You
Let's
know,
make a motion to approve the ordinance regulating purchases and sales for the town of Thompson
Which would send it to a town meeting.
to send to town meeting for approval. I'm making the motion so we can so we can talk about it.
Oh, okay. All
I'll
right,
second it.
all right. So we have a motion and a second up for discussion.
Like I was saying before, the numbers change depending on what town you're in. but the structure of the ordinance is all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
You know, whether we might be more comfortable with 20,000, 25, 15, 30, that's open for discussion. I mean, 25,000 today, and we talked about this,
Back in 2018.
yeah, a few years ago. And it's been long overdue because to put this in and move the numbers
Well, and
because
you
of the
know
cost and everything.
that by
Doing
statute,
business.
a policy has to be in an ordinance,
Yeah.
whereas we had a 3-line policy in the past.
No, but we had
It
talked
is
about in the
overdue.
policy to increase it
Yep.
a few years ago, and it's been long overdue.
I think that the ordinance we're proposing is thoughtful. I think it touches upon all of the potential issues that we haven't always had an explanation or guidance on how to,
Yeah,
whether it's government options or things like that, so.
I mean, the only thing that I saw in here, and it could be the way I'm reading it. It was about the insurance liability, that type of stuff.
didn't we,
If we're setting, you know, when we go out to bid or whatever, what we feel is comfortable, as long as that's flexible in there.
Is that for section 4?
I think it's in
Did-
section
did
4.
we adjust that?
Which is usually the appropriate insurance coverages, regulated by what the insurance company says we need to have.
Yeah, because I'm thinking more of, we do have several small businesses that we use from time to time. You know,
But-
local businesses. Hopefully, if it doesn't affect them, this
Most
is,
likely.
this is
I would
fine.
assume they all have insurance that they,
Right.
To a point,
Yeah.
I'm sure they do.
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't limit, it doesn't extend, it
And no
doesn't
matter
put a
what the
minimum
insur-
or a maximum or a.
The insurance agent, our insurance agent, HD Seeger, is going to require us to require certain amounts of insurance for anybody doing business in the town. So,
And I mean, that could be, you know, just putting down the tile floor or, you know, something that's not big dollars.
right,
That we're not asking them for $1.5 million
Right.
insurance when the job is $10,000.
Hmm.
That's,
right. Well, if it's 10,000, we wouldn't have to go out to.
I'm just,
Oh.
just make a reference and, you know,
Yeah,
that we don't want to cut off.
$25,001.
Yeah, we don't want to cut off some of our
Right,
small
you're right.
business taxpayers in town and jam them up where they can't afford to do business in town,
Right, you're
but
right.
yet they pay the taxes.
Yeah.
So, that's all.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor of approving this ordinance to regulate the purchases and sales for the town of Thompson? For approving it and then moving it to town meeting, say aye.
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 And you're gonna have what, Seeger look at that?
What's that? This?
About what we were just talking about.
Sure, absolutely, yep. All right, agenda item 8, I do have other business to bring before the board tonight. And Marie had sent it to both of you this afternoon.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Okay,
So
if you want, we can have a meeting on Thursday.
what was it?
It's the new hire.
Oh, for the,
building
The
office.
approval for the new hire.
Yeah.
I looked at it earlier.
Yeah, I glanced at it while I
Before
was
the-
here.
I mean, it's,
Did you,
I think that, I mean, I wasn't part of the interviews or anything, but I think the resume, speaks volumes and the letters of recommendation.
I would agree.
I don't know the person at all, but I think that if the committee interviewed and felt this was the appropriate candidate, I'm ready to make a motion. So are you good with that, or do you want to hold on?
No, I read it.
Yeah. The hiring committee recommended her, so I'll make a motion that we appoint,
oh, the hire?
that we hire, okay, Nicole Walker.
Oh, we gotta, is it on the agenda or do we
Oh,
have
we
to
gotta
add it to the
yeah.
agenda?
Make a motion that we add to the agenda, discussion surrounding, the recommendation to hire Nicole Walker for the administrative assistant position
Under other business.
under other business in the building office.
Second,
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor of adding this to the agenda tonight, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay.
now I'll make a motion that we hire Nicole Walker for the administrative assistant position in the building office.
Okay, I
Do
will
I need to add anything to that?
No, I'll second that. Up for discussion.
Like we said before, we had it on the agenda. The resume, the letters of recommendation, and the committee looking at it.
Who was on the hiring committee?
So the committee was myself, Marie Moncho, and Kelly Genest. And it was unanimous.
And, you know, the track record from the previous job and everything is there.
Yes, I was,
Yeah.
we had 3 applicants that were stellar. The history, the background was really strong and solid. So very excited. Good, so.
And whoever the new hire is will, I'm trying to think, what is it? I'm not sure if that office needs what the zoning officer has.
Certification?
What, there's one certification.
It wasn't that I knew of, but I'll find out.
I mean, like anything else.
Right.
They get properly trained.
Yes, absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
can't think of the one it is.
Whatever training we can send her for, we absolutely will. So whether it's acceptance of building applications, building permit processes, we'll find whatever we need to send her.
When's the starting date?
It's going to be Monday.
Monday, okay.
It was pending
Perfect.
tonight's. approval.
Excellent. That's the ninth.
All right, all in favor of the motion as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we will open the floor to citizen comments. Ms. Kais or Levesque?
How are you guys tonight? I just have a quick question and I don't mean to interrupt.
No. Citizen comments.
For the track and field,
Oh, hey, Kais, can you state your
for
address?
the- oh yeah, I'm sorry, 260 Quadic Road,
Okay,
Thompson,
great.
Connecticut. Blonde moment. Wondering for the track, I don't know if it's possible, but is there any schools or any other places that are selling used bleachers that are still in good condition?
Oh,
Is that that would be a cheaper route to go?
yep. Check on the other end
Um,
of the state.
Yeah,
I'm making note of that,
just,
Kais. That's a great idea. I love it.
I'm just thinking, you know, hey, hand-me-downs are always good. As
Yep.
long as they're in good condition.
Correct, correct.
So bleachers, if they're in good condition, can we get any hand-me-downs or hand-me-downs? I mean, second bleachers secondhand, and any track equipment.
Okay. That might be a tougher
I-
stretch, but
Yeah, no, I'm just offering. Now, I don't quote me on it, and I don't want to get myself into trouble here, but Killingly High School, they built the new school, new track. I don't remember if the equipment from Owen Bell went with us to the new school or they bought new equipment. So they might have, it's gonna be a couple of years old. But Killingly High School might have the Owen Bell track equipment that we used to use at Owen Bell.
okay. It's worth a
Just a
call
thought.
to their recreation director.
Right.
Uh,
And or any other schools that have that equipment that might be able to sell it because they're buying new.
Yep.
That's all.
Thank you, Kais.
And I'm just gonna touch on what Kai just said, which is a great idea. When we present the equipment lists that we're talking about in this grant application, people are gonna wonder, what equipment are we talking about? Hopefully we get a breakdown and it'll help the Board of Finance as well.
There is an itemized.
Perfect,
Yeah.
Right down the shot puts.
great.
Any other citizen comments at this time? Floor is open to citizen comments. Live audience. Yes, Mr. Sean Brissett.
Lowell Davis Road. something that frustrated me when I was on the Board of Ed, when I sit in Board of Finance meetings and then here tonight, 15 minutes of our life we won't get back. I think boards should be quicker to realize what they don't know and say, we're gonna check with the attorney, let's move this forward, because listening to. Can we do this? Can we spend that? It happens at every meeting. Can we do this? Can we do that? Nobody knows. There isn't anybody in this room, including Bill, by the way, because I asked him. That knows, can you spend more than 1.5? Can you, so. It's something that, I know people don't like to call the attorney for everything, but. This was a quick, let's move it forward to the Board of Finance, because they're the ones that do spend the money, and. You know what? I don't know. Ken, you might be right. 1.5 might be the limit, including the grant, if that's what. The law says when you vote to spend 1.5, it might not matter that we got a grant.
Right.
Nobody knows. You're gonna find out
I will
probably
find out.
tomorrow, because now everybody wants to know, but. It's usually a quick phone call, as we said earlier today when you and I talked, right? How quick was that phone call for the second question that I had, right?
Yes.
Just like that, and solves a lot of. I've seen the Board of Finance spend a half hour, 40 minutes. Batting something back and forth that they don't know, it's like, call the attorney,
Mhm.
table it.
Well, I will say, until Ken brought that up,
But that
in
was,
my mind, it was like a no-brainer. Well, we're not spending
Well, right.
1.5.
but even the fact that you don't
But
know,
that's
you don't
a
even
good
know,
viewpoint.
even if you can spend more, you don't know that you can spend it on this equipment.
No,
The
I
question
believed
of,
that we could. The truth is, I believed that we could.
you believe,
But I felt we had an obligation to discuss it, to talk about it, and then to bring it to the Board of Finance for full transparency that this is what we needed. Can we have permission to do it?
right,
That was, because I wasn't looking at it from Ken's point of view at all.
right, but what I mean is, even the Board of Finance is not gonna know for sure. Whether the gray area of an additional whatever
Right.
Okay,
means equipment.
all right.
Yeah.
Sean, think about the discussion that we just had and the questions that we raised.
Absolutely.
So now we can talk to the attorney, which means it was well done by having this discussion for 15 minutes. And we'll have the answers for the Board of Finance so they know what to do with it,
It's
instead of putting it off even
Prepared
further.
us.
So it wasn't a bad thing, and in our meetings, this type of discussion rarely happens. Rarely.
Oh, come on, it does once in a while.
Yeah, rarely, but I mean, it's not like it's every meeting. So,
We enjoyed the
This
discussion.
is a good, that's why I
That
said,
will attest to it, because I did it very often when I was on the Board of Ed. It was, we don't have that answer, let's get the answer.
Yeah.
but we didn't have.
but by
the
having the
questions.
discussion, we came up with questions that
We
the
didn't have
attorney
the
needs to have.
questions.
We didn't have.
It's the other way to look at it.
I thought it was a great
Yeah.
15, I like that 15 minutes.
And we're just over an hour. Come on.
Come on.
No game on.
True,
If you're
true.
talking about the socks, it doesn't matter.
Any other citizen comments, either virtual or in the room? All right. Seeing and hearing none, we will move on to tax refunds, which I don't have any. Not
See?
because, but
Made
only,
up that 15.
only
minutes.
because Dave was out today, so I think that he's usually.
Okay.
he takes
So
care of
then
that.
it's a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, so Ken has the motion to adjourn, Suzanne has the second, is 8:10 PM. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you, everybody.
Could you,